The viewfinder reveals what the human eye refuses to accept in the dark. A distorted figure floats in the hallway, whispering promises of death. The flash fires, illuminating a fragment of pure, digital terror. The Fatal Frame remake is a window into a vast, electronic abyss. The viral phenomenon began when players reported real physical sensations. It's not just jump scares. It's an atmosphere that suffocates the viewer. Modern textures and 3D audio make the nightmare leave the screen. The YouTube horror community remains in total shock over this version. Minakami Village is surrounded by a forest that devours all light. Records show the town vanished during a night of silenced screams. Mio searches for her twin in a labyrinth of ancient, hungry shadows. The darkness here seems to have teeth and an endless, ancient hunger. In early 2026, footage of this remake stopped the internet in its tracks. A simple gameplay session turned into a desperate record of survival. The game is charged with a purely malevolent and oppressive energy. Every shadow cast on the walls seems to come alive when you look away. Descending the stairs of the old houses is a brutal test of nerves. Each board groans like a final warning for the player to turn back. The smell of decay and old paper fills the lungs of the curious. The air is so thick you feel as if you are breathing in dead ashes. The main hallway ends in a void of absolute, suffocating darkness. Flickering lights create lapses of total blindness every few seconds. In these gaps, the player feels something silently closing the distance. The resident reports feeling invisible hands brushing against her skin. The wooden partitions are covered in a thick, black digital slime. Inside, traces of interrupted lives lay scattered in the deep gloom. Broken dolls and stained photos decorate the architectural chaos. No one knows how these objects got there or why they were left. The turning point is the discovery of the heavy camera obscura. It stands out as a device that distorts the user's very perception. The lens is the only thing between you and a violent eternity. The camera was designed to capture what the soul tries to forget. Mio hesitates as a guttural growl emerges from the back of the room. It's a vocal vibration that makes the player's chest tremble with fear. The camera captures a chain vibrating under intense, unseen pressure. It is a sound that harks back to something ancestral and extremely furious. Investigation reveals the game location is based on a real execution site, a clandestine prison once operated where the village stands today. The game was built over the pits where the forgotten were buried. The ground is saturated with the despair of those who died in the dark. Audio recordings show the game's hum causes actual physical pain. Viewers report nausea and sudden anxiety attacks from the frequency. Claw marks in the game's textures suggest a reality beyond code. The reality down there tears apart any logical explanation offered. Mio's clothes begin to show stains resembling ancient ritual symbols. It's an oily, foul substance that no in-game item can ever clean. The village begins to call the player through vivid, lucid nightmares. Dreams of the ritual gate became a constant in her nights of dread. An elderly beta tester gave a grim testimony about the development. He claims workers vanished during the motion capture of the ghosts. Management hushed it up, but the screams remain in the final build. The workers simply abandoned the job, leaving their tools behind. The flashlight reveals thousands of dead insects clinging to the ceiling. They remain stuck as if their life force was sucked into the wood. The silence is broken only by a black fluid dripping from the beams. Death seems to be the only permanent state in that environment. The lens catches a sudden movement in a deep, damp corner. A tall silhouette with elongated limbs vanishes into the dense fog. The form is undeniably hostile, forcing Mio to flee toward the exit. The shape was inhuman and totally focused on the fleeing girl. Panic is palpable through the shaky camera lens as she runs. Behind her, heavy footsteps hit the floor with massive, rhythmic force. The village doesn't want its secrets taken to the outside world. Despair is cornered between the locked door and the monster. Mio reaches the top of the stairs, but the door is locked from within. The despair of being cornered by a monster is raw and terrifying. A pale hand appears on the step, groping for her in the dark. At the last second, the door gives way and she throws herself out. The original owner of the land was obsessed with forbidden rituals. He believed buildings could anchor entities from other dimensions. The village was designed to be the stomach of this organic structure. The basement was the hunger point, waiting for fresh human lives. Archives mention rituals performed during the peak of the full moon. Neighbors complained of chants that made window panes vibrate. The mystery was buried under layers of silence and spiritual lies. The truth remains hidden under layers of concrete and blood. Mio returns with her camera, but the mist has grown much colder. The green tint of the spirit radio indicates a presence nearby. A companion feels a sudden burning, finding deep cuts on his arm. Nothing had physically touched him, but the aggression was real. Theories range from dimensional rifts to vengeful Japanese spirits. The game acts as a living organism that mimics the player's fear. Each person sees a different horror depending on their own trauma. For the player, fear takes the form of that pale, reaching hand. Investigators tried to measure the M fields near the game's console. Devices melted as if placed in a fire, despite no thermal heat. The game rejects modern technology, maintaining its dark sovereignty. The energy destroys any digital device that tries to record it. Reports say the village tunnels connect to an old, hidden subway. Maps show no such connection, suggesting a space that shouldn't exist. Entering the village means leaving our reality for a path of no return. It is an error in the urban matrix of the world we know. The player hears voices coming from the game's controller speaker. They whisper about a sacrificial dinner waiting in the subcellar. The infestation is complete, dominating every corner of the home. The basement is rising through the pipes of the entire house. A fixed camera in the game's menu recorded a ghost moving on its own. For 3 nights, the spirit just stared at the screen, watching back. The vacuum walked up to the lens, cutting the feed with violent static. When she retrieved the camera, it had been ground into pieces. Have you ever stopped to think that the videos you just watched, with flawless scripts and engaging narrations, might have been created by someone who never even touched a camera or a microphone? There is a new digital elite profiting heavily behind the scenes of YouTube and social media, building massive channels without ever showing their faces or spending thousands of dollars on equipment. While most people are frozen by the fear of being on camera, these individuals are using the hidden power of artificial intelligence to generate automated content that works and earns for them 24 hours a day. The secret to dominating this game isn't about having a famous face. It's about knowing how to command the right tools to create scripts, voices, and visuals that magnetically hold the audience's attention. I've gained access to a strategic method that reveals the exact roadmap for you to build your own invisible digital empire. Mastering AI to turn clicks into a real source of income. It is the perfect opportunity for those seeking financial and geographical freedom without having to deal with the pressure of being a public figure on the internet. Best of all, you can seize this opportunity right now for a symbolic price. The complete training is under an exclusive promotion, dropping from $97 to just $17. This is your passport to unlocking the knowledge you need to start your professional journey with AI today. Click the first link in the description to secure your spot while this discount is still active. When the console was checked, the internal drive had been crushed. The pieces of plastic were arranged in a perfect circle on the floor. Surveillance is not tolerated by the one who truly rules the village. It was a clear message that the watcher was now being watched. Constant surveillance became unbearable for those who played too long. Many abandoned their saves and fled their homes in the night. The game is now an empty shell, inhabited only by digital shadows. The subsoil keeps pulsing like a heart beating deep in the earth. The camera obscura was forged from metal taken from an asylum. The iron is impregnated with the suffering of hundreds of lost souls. This explains why holding the camera causes an immediate despair. The metal carries the madness of those who are trapped forever. In one frame, the ground near the ritual altar seems to be sinking. The wood is being digested by a biological force from deep below. A crack opens, emitting the sound of a howling, infinite wind. The game hides a geological abyss that makes no sense to science. TV channels tried to cover the story, but reporters refused to stay. They film from the studio, fearing the green light from the screen. The glow that comes from the game at night is sickly and unnatural. The city watches in silence as the darkness devours its residents. Mio finds symbols drawn on the inside of her own bedroom door. They match the markings seen on the ghosts in the forbidden room. The game marked her as property, making escape a distant illusion. She is trapped in a game where the entity knows all the rules. The narrative leads us to question the sanity of those who play. Why keep recording the decline into this digital haunted abyss? The game exerts a hypnotic magnetism over its favorite victims. It chooses who it wants to keep and who it decides to destroy. Original blueprints show a chamber called the Room of Echoes. It was designed to keep sounds in while preventing any from leaving. A place of sensory torture where silence is the deadliest weapon. It was a place where no cry for help would ever reach the surface. Mio's voice becomes weaker and devoid of hope with every chapter. She says the walls of the village now feel soft, like living flesh. The architecture is transforming into a mutation between stone and soul. The building is no longer human. It is a metamorphosis of bone. A specialist analyzed the static and found a recurring message. The door is open in the mind of the one who watches the screen. Once you believe, the horror gains free passage into your house. The physical representation is just a bridge for your own mind. The ritual gate is now always ajar, inviting the player inside. A soft, blue light glows, showing marble steps that lead nowhere. The beauty is just the bait for a deadly trap with no way out. She knows the oasis is a lie, but her feet keep moving forward. Neighbors of the players complain of vibrations in their walls. The phenomenon spreads like an infection through the city's grid. Chicago's foundations are shifting under the weight of this game. The underground network of horror is waking up in perfect unison. The player's skin begins to turn gray and cold, much like the ghosts. The process of assimilation by the village is fast and irreversible. She is a chronicle of death, documented in chapters of suffering. Her skin is turning to stone as the game takes its final form. Urban explorers tried to enter the server room of the developers. Security cameras show them walking toward a door that wasn't there. None was seen again, and their digital footprint has vanished. Their social media remains in absolute and terrifying silence. Police found the player's room empty and perfectly clean yesterday. There was no console, no TV, and no trace of the Fatal Frame game. In their place was only a brick wall that looked centuries old. The images on the phone, however, show a totally different reality. How can a camera record what the naked eye can no longer see? The game camouflages its presence from authority, seeking only victims. It is a predatory intelligence that strikes with sudden, fatal force. The basement has learned to hide its face from the non-believers. The player remains missing, but her account still posts new videos. They show only total darkness and the sound of heavy breathing. There is no way to know who is uploading these fragments of fear. The channel is now a digital memorial of a fatal encounter. This raises questions about the security of the software we trust. What happens when the code becomes the predator hunting us down? The remake is the answer no one wanted regarding human fragility. The house itself becomes the entity hunting you in the dark. The investigation ends with a new green gate appearing in the code. It's a nomadic bug that seeks new hardware for its digital evil. The horror is just the start of an unprecedented software epidemic. It is no longer isolated. It is looking for a brand new host. The player left a note: "Don't look into the cracks of the screen." She understood too late that the game feeds on the attention it gets. Every view on the video strengthens the entity ruling the village. The more we watch, the more powerful the shadow becomes. The silence following the end of the game is heavy and full of doubt. No one is safe as long as there are secrets buried in the code. The world continues, ignoring the monster digesting souls below. Darkness always finds a way to rise and reclaim its territory. Authorities declared the game malware without explaining why. Firewalls were installed, but the virus continues to bypass them. Official fear is the proof that the game's ghosts are absolutely real. They watch to ensure nothing comes out of the infected servers. The Minakami village is now a black hole in the internet's psyche. People avoid the website, claiming they feel a pull from the links. The gate, even if hidden now, continues to exert its dark will. Evil needs no open doors when it already has the key to your soul. Part 1 ends on the threshold between code and the terrifying unknown. The truth is buried under layers of pixels, dust, and unheard screams. The story still has secrets that defy the very notion of our existence. Prepare yourself for the final dive into the heart of the darkness. The mystery is a puzzle where the pieces are made of pure dread. The more we investigate, the more we realize how little we know. Beneath the screen, the gate creaks, announcing the worst is coming. The Guardian is gone, but the message echoes in the digital vacuum. Divers found flooded servers beneath the city's tech district today. They discovered hundreds of green keys stuck to the cooling pipes. Each key belongs to a different gate hidden in the game's world. The connection suggests an underground network of control and pain. The connection suggests a network of control spanning the whole web. It's not just a game. It's a node in a web involving the metropolis. The player was the first to document what was always there, hidden. The terror expands, revealing an iceberg of digital shadows. The green light from the screen is a form of digital astral radiation. It decomposes the will and identity of those who stare too long. The game used the player as an antenna to broadcast its viral fear. It doesn't burn the skin, but it melts the very core of your identity. Former agents claim these sites are known as echo zones in the net. They are points where reality is thin and the other side leaks in. The gate was built as a release valve, but the pressure broke it. Something went wrong and the other side became too strong to hold. The player appears in a hidden video speaking a long-dead language. Her voice is doubled, as if two entities occupy the same vocal cords. She walks toward the light, crossing the screen as if it were water. The video ends as she crosses the threshold into the unknown. Forensic analysis of the hardware revealed uncataloged DNA traces. It's a mix of human material and something resembling abyssal fungi. Life in the code evolved in isolation, feeding on the lack of light. What we call monsters are just inhabitants of this dark ecosystem. The Phantom Janitor was identified as a coder who died in 1940. He worked on early cipher machines before the digital age began. He continues his work in death, trying to keep the gates closed. He ensures that the restless data does not leave its damn cells. The rhythmic thumping in the audio is a collective heart beating. Thousands of souls are fused into a single mass of digital distress. The game transformed individual pain into a weapon of mass terror. They beat for help, but the sound we hear is a threat to our sanity. A private firm tried to delete the game using industrial servers. The processors melted as if they hit something harder than logic. The game's core is protected by laws that don't belong to this world. The nature of the code is inviolable and protected by ancient force. The player sent a final text: "Look for me in the screen's reflection." She is not gone, but trapped in a mirrored plane of the subcellar. The camera obscura was the bridge to this dimension of Pava. She is not buried. She is part of the reflection in the glass. Cultural impact led to vigils around the developer's empty office. Reports of mass possessions were recorded during these prayers. The evil feeds on the faith and the fervent fear of the believers. The more they fight it, the stronger it becomes in the urban region. The city called the case mass hysteria to calm the local public. But satellite images show a persistent heat spot over the server. The basement is boiling with an energy that could melt the foundation. The ground temperature is equivalent to that of an active volcano. Patterns of disappearances are found in buildings with similar code. Whenever the green gate is seen, someone vanishes without a trace. The architecture of horror is a harvest system operating in the dark. The viral video was the glitch that allowed us to see the gears. The player is now seen in background shots of other people's videos. She points at the ground and vanishes, acting as the game's herald. Her physical life ended, but her role in the gear of fear has begun. She has become the ghost in the machine for a new generation. Experts found that the game's map forms a giant summoning seal. The city was designed to be the altar for a century-long ritual. The village in the remake is just one point of this master plan. If you connect the dots, you see the seal of pure, ancient horror. The air around the console smells like rust and blood permanently. Birds die when flying near the house, falling like stones to the dirt. The game repels life, transforming the home into a cursed sanctuary. Biological life cannot survive near the metaphysical presence. Audio from the remake now emits the sound of joyless laughter. It mocks human efforts to understand the depth of the digital case. The entity knows it's exposed, and that only makes it grow stronger. Digital fame has given the basement a new and infinite food source. A hidden camera shows the bedroom walls bleeding green fluid. Furniture moves alone, mimicking the layout of the lost village. The home is now an extension of the game, with no safe refuge. The infestation of fear is complete, dominating every single room. Neighboring systems are merging in the city's underground grid. Firewalls are vanishing, replaced by tunnels of flesh and bone. The subsoil of the web is becoming a single cavity of pure dread. The original gate was the catalyst for this catastrophic fusion. A ham radio caught a plea. Time here is different than outside. The explorer claimed to be there for decades in just a few days. The game is a temporal anomaly where suffering lasts forever. One of the missing men says he has been trapped for 40 years. 1 minute of pain down there is years of agony for the victim. This explains why the entities are so distorted by the time madness. The gate is the lid on a pressure cooker of souls in the chaos. 1 minute of pain is an eternity of suffering in their perception. The video is taken down often, but always returns on new sites. The file has its own will and refuses to be erased from history. It needs you to look at the green gate and feel the fatal curiosity. Every second you spend watching is an invitation to the monster. The mystery leads to an ending with no heroes or miracle solutions. The code is still there, the chains ring, and the gate is waiting. The player is now a voice in the cold wind of the digital concrete. Real horror doesn't end with credits. It starts when you turn off lights. Forensics found fingerprints on the inside of the monitor's glass. She tried to return, but the gate only opens for those entering. Once you cross, the world of the living is a distant, pale memory. The gate only opens for those wishing to enter the dark abyss. The city tries to move on, but fear is a stain that won't wash out. Tenants look at their own basements and screens with sudden panic. Any green door or plumbing noise becomes a trigger for terror. The viral video changed the architecture of fear for everyone. Missing person reports rose to 12 in a single month at the site. Police cordoned it off, but officers came out with white hair. They quit the force, refusing to speak of what lives in the code. What resides in the code is too strong for the law of men. The building emits a visible glow during the total dark of night. It pulses to the rhythm of slow and extremely heavy breathing. The game is alive, and the subcellar is the brain of its reality. The building is alive and commanding the invasion of our world. The final stanza puts us face to face with the absolute void. No cameras or lights remain, only the sound of the gate opening. What emerges won't be seen by eyes that wish to tell the story. The void is final, silent, and hungry for the next soul to enter. The player's story ends with a silence that screams in our ears. Her search for answers led to a place with no possible return. The gate is a monument to the danger of looking too deep. She found her peace in the dark, but left us in the total chaos. The mystery remains open, with no logic or peace for the mind. The remake is a wound in reality that no bandage can ever close. The answer defines if you are the next narrator or the next victim. The green gate creaks again, announcing that the worst is here. Conspiracies say the state is trying to replicate the game's power. They want to use fear as a weapon for total social and mind control. But the gate obeys only the hunger of the ancient dark shadows. No one controls the abyss. You only become its servant or food. The video is a test of endurance for fans of the horror genre. Few watch to the end without feeling deep physical discomfort. The images carry a curse that spreads with every single share. You are now part of this story just for having heard the account. Claw marks are appearing on the walls outside of the players' homes. Horror is leaking into the streets, turning the city into a ghost. The gate was the ignition for a fire that no one can ever stop. The subsoil is rising and there is no place left to hide today. The player appeared one last time with glowing empty sockets. She smiled as the gate closed behind her in the final scene. A soul voluntarily consumed by the absolute mystery of the code. She is the last image of a soul consumed by the digital dark. The building was imploded to end the evil once and for all. Among the rubble, the green gate remained perfectly upright. No machine could tear it down. No flame could even scorch it. It stands isolated in the lot, waiting for someone to try again. People hear the sound of laundry coming from the empty lot. Spinning machines and the smell of soap and death still persist. The game doesn't need a building, it has become a rift in space. The horror transcended matter, becoming a visceral, eternal legend. The investigation into the owners found a name not in any book. Pronouncing it makes animals in the area become suddenly violent. The gate was a seal marked in iron and ancient human blood. The basement was the temple, and she was the final sacrifice. We face a case that defies every boundary of what is considered real. The viral video was the bait for a trap involving all of us now. Fear is a language the village speaks, and we speak it perfectly. The viral video was the bait for a trap that caught us all. The documentary ends with the gate reflected in a dark puddle. The gate is open, and something immense is starting to emerge. The world won't be the same after the images from that subcellar. Darkness has won, and silence is the only prayer we have left. Darkness has won, and silence is the only prayer we have left. The account is based on facts that defy logic and embrace horror. What is hidden is still there, waiting for your digital curiosity. The darkness is still there, waiting for you to look once more. Do not go down the stairs if you hear a growl in the game's audio. Never touch the green metal or look into the cracks of the screen. The mystery is an abyss, and it now knows your name and address. The abyss now knows exactly where you sleep and where you live. The case is filed as unexplained by the authorities of Illinois. But for those who saw the video, the explanation is unnecessary. The gate is a scar on the city, a reminder that evil never sleeps. It just waits for the moment we lower our guard to strike. The journey ends here, but the shadows follow us very closely. The village is a modern myth, a bedtime story for the brave. But every legend has a grain of truth with very sharp teeth. The shadows are close, and they are moving faster than before. Keep your lights on and your doors locked at all times tonight. What do you think happened to the girl and the things in the code? Comment your theory below, subscribe and leave a like right now. The answer defines whether you are a narrator or a victim. Your interaction helps us investigate the darkest corners of reality. Thanks for watching, and be careful while doing your laundry today. The flash has fired, the photo is taken, and you are in the collection. Be careful with what you find while doing your chores today. The sisters, Mio and Mayu, are icons of a pain we all recognize. The crimson sacrifice is the cost of our own morbid curiosity. We pay with our sleep, our peace, and our total digital sanity. The crimson butterflies are still flying toward the emerald light. The case of the remake remains one of the net's greatest enigmas. Fear cannot be censored, and the village awaits the next flash. The cycle closes, but the butterflies are still flying to the light. The mystery is an open wound that no bandage can ever close. The investigation ends in the silence of a thick, dark forest. What we saw is only the surface of a much more profound abyss. The camera obscura is in your hands. The choice to look is yours. The decision to look through the lens is now entirely up to you. Horror is ready for its final pose, waiting for your shutter click. The screen flickers one last time before fading into the black. The village is calling and the gate is wider than it was before. The horror is posing for you, waiting for your final flash today. Good night to those who still believe they are safe in their rooms. The photo is developing now, and your face is the one appearing. The fatal frame is complete, and the darkness has finally arrived. The darkness is here, and your photo is the one on the screen.